there, it's Natasha and thank you so much for joining me today. Today we are going to be using this gorgeous stamp here called Butterflies Cascade, and this is, I'm not sure if it was designed for a slimline card, however I think it would fit great on a slimline card, but that is not what I tend to make. So today I am going to create this and make this into a background stamp. So I want to fill this entire background here, and I want to make it pretty seamless so that you can't tell I just repeated the same stamp. And because the stamp is so long, it does give me a good opportunity to repeat it and not have the same images side by side. So I am also going to create a really nice ombre, and I'm going to do that using 4 colors: Midnight Snack, Remember Me, Clear Skies, and Minty Fresh. These are Simon Hurley's dye ink range. You could obviously use any ink range at all. Pigment inks, dye inks, whatever you have, hybrid inks, these will all work. And I just felt like going with the blues today. I do have some finger daubers out, which I am going to use to soften the edges in between the colors. Now I must admit that a stamping platform of some sort is handy here, so I am using one today, and I have had to change my piece of paper around a little bit so that my stamp kind of fit nicely. I've done the first layer and I stamped it a couple of times in that Midnight Snack color, which is that dark blue. Then I am repositioning my stamp. I took it off and I'm just going to kind of fit the butterflies as close and as snugly as I kind of can into those previous ones that I have stamped. Once I think I've got it in the right place, then I am going to ink this up with 2 of the middle colors. So this is the Remember Me and the Clear Skies color, so I'm just kind of doing half and half. I'm going to stamp it down, and these colors are relatively close. But even so, once I have kind of inked up both sides of the stamp with the 2 different colors, I'm going to come in with the finger dauber just to soften that mark. So especially since I don't want to get any kind of ink pad marks as well. Then I'm coming in with that Midnight Snack color with the finger dauber and just adding a little bit down the side, the very edge of those butterflies. And that kind of makes it look a little bit more ombre rather than just changing colors immediately. So you can see that those butterflies really have taken on just a tiny little bit of that Midnight Snack in the corner. And that is a really kind of nice start to the ombre. Now I'm going to take off my stamp again and then move my card front up to the corner so I can fit it in once again, and I'm going to again push it right up, butt it right up as far as I can to the previous butterflies, and I will stamp here with the Minty Fresh color and then the Clear Skies. So I just want a tiny little bit to be the Clear Skies, then I'm going to use the finger dauber to kind of soften it off a little bit. I'm going to stamp this down first just so I can kind of get a feeling of how much I have left. Then I use the Minty Fresh color and just stamp that down. And then again, to add a little bit of soft color in, I am just going to ink it up again, but then come in with my finger dauber and go over top of that just so that I know there is definitely no harsh lines, and stamp down again. And I'm pretty happy with how this background is looking. And then just because I do have the luxury of using a platform, I'm going to just kind of add little bits here and there, anywhere that I think I need to add a little bit more color or a little bit more ombre to. And so once I pick this up, I kind of have a look at it, and to me there are 2 really glaring spots that I need to fix because they look really empty to me. So I am going to take my stamp again. Now one option would be to cut up the stamp, but I'm probably not going to do that because that does mean that it is trickier to use in future. So I'm just going to line up any butterfly that I kind of can that's hanging off the edge there and use the coordinating color that should go there, and then stamp, even though it's just a little bit of the edge here. I wasn't sure how much I would want to cut off this panel, if any at all, so I really want to make sure the panel looks complete. And then again, up in the corner here, I can see that I've kind of missed one wee spot. Well, it's not missed, it just didn't have a butterfly there, so I'm able to kind of angle everything just so and stamp a little one that will go in there. And then we have this beautiful, beautiful ombre. So go through your stamps, and even though it may not be a background stamp, you can create a gorgeous background out of stamps that aren't even meant to be so. Or you might just choose to put a whole lot of little stamps down on your stamping platform and then make that into an ombre background. In fact, that really makes me want to do that. So maybe I will give that a go too in an upcoming video. Now, I want to keep this really simple, and I do not want to cover up much of those butterflies at all because I love this ombre background. Now, I have got some VersaFine clear in the blue, and then I have some VersaFine Onyx black. Then I have two lots of sentiments here. This one is the chunky greetings, and then this one is the curly greetings. And I just needed this to be a thank you card. That's what I needed for this morning, but I just was not sure which one I wanted to put on there. I was not sure that I could make the thank you fit for this chunky greetings, even though that was my preferred font, but I'm going to try anyway. So I kind of don't think this is wasted. I am going to cut this stamp in half, but this is one of those stamps that's really easy to pop back together if I need to pop it together later on and I want it to be stacked. But this just means that I can extend my use of the stamp because I want it to be side by side for this project in particular. So I have the word thank and you obviously on two different stamp blocks, and I am going to have to stamp this very close together. Now, I wasn't sure how this was going to go. So this was kind of why I die cut out two of these little tags here, just so that I could try both. Now, the words are joined together here, and I'm going to add some clear embossing powder, and that way I know that my ink won't be going anywhere on that vellum. This is the Superfine embossing powder. I definitely recommend getting the Superfine one because that way you can do those really intricate, delicate, detailed stamps, as well as the bold, more solid images as well. So you can kind of do 2 for 1 there. And I have heat set that, and I like the look of it. I know that there should be a gap in between the words thank and you, and it kind of bothered me, although I was desperately trying to have it not bother me. But I will keep it in my stash because I just wasn't sure. But anyway, I go ahead here and stamp the one from the curly greetings, and I'm just going to do the same thing, add a little bit of the clear embossing powder over top and heat set it, and then I think this is the one that I'm going to end up using. It just looks a little bit more right to me. Now, I have finished this card off by keeping it pretty simple. I definitely wanted to showcase the butterflies. I do not want to cover them up. I really like that ombre look, so that is reflected in how I finished off the card. I am going to cut off just a little bit because I really do love that finished look with the little border. So this started off being 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches, and it's going to finish up being 4 by 5 1/4 inches, and then that way it will have a nice little white border. I have the same Midnight Snack ink that I used in the ombre, and I'm just going to put a little bit of ink around the edges. Now, I know that this is hard to see, kind of that it's making any difference at all, but once I put it down on that white background, you'll definitely be able to see that it kind of just outlines the outside without having a full-on border. So I just want to be careful not to put my fingers in it at this point. I have some gold thread here. This one is one that I picked up recently from, I think this is the We Are Memory Keepers one, but obviously any gold thread or even some burlap sort of twine or ribbon would look really, really nice to finish this off. I have finished my whole stash of that, and I am probably going to order some more because if you've watched my channel for a little while, you'll know that I really do love that kind of burlap twine sort of look, but I am going to use what I have for the moment, and this is what's in my drawer. So I have got about, I think there's about 6 or so of these threads together, and it's not going to be a big feature. I could have done like a little nest behind it, but again, it's a little bit tricky to adhere vellum sometimes, hence why I'm going for this option where I'm just going to use the gold thread. I've added a little bit of double-sided tape around the back of my project, and then this way I will be able to kind of wrap the thread around the back of the card, and that will hold that little tag in place. Now, I really enjoy doing this project, and I hope that it has inspired you to give this kind of ombre look a go, and you are able to kind of find some stamps in your stash that you can turn into a background, even though that may not be what they were specifically created for. And if you do that and you were inspired by this, I would really love to see the things that you create. I love getting to see photos and bits and pieces, so the best way to do that is to go over and join my Facebook group. We have an amazing bunch of people there. It is a fast growing group, and I am so proud and I am so grateful of the community that we have created. It is a very supportive environment, so I will leave a link to that in the description box down below. I will also leave a link to any of the products that I have used in today's video. So if you are seeing something and wondering where it came from or what the name of the product is, make sure you check out down below first of all, and that if it's not listed there, it has likely been discontinued or I'm not able to source it at all anymore. But I'm sure if you have a look in your stash, you'll be able to find something similar that you can make work for this card. And this is a pretty simple card. As I said, I kept it very straightforward from here on out. The only couple of things that I do want to do to finish this off is to add a couple of Nuvo drops. Now I have a gold and a white here, and in a minute I'm going to zoom in and show you the tiniest little dots that I am doing here. I'm barely pressing on the Nuvo drops. And again, if you have watched my videos, you'll know that I say it is the finer details and the small little details that really can kind of make a card. So I'm doing some butterflies with the gold little bits up their body and some with the white. Like, I'm not even really making a drop. This is really just a tiny little dot. And then I will do a couple of little dots here, there, and around the place just to fill in some tiny little gaps. But for the body, I mean, of course, you could use some gems. You could really even use a white pen or a gold metallic pen or something like that. That would work really well too. So that was my video for today. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you have enjoyed this. It is a very simple card, and yet I had so much fun creating it. And I really look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks, bye.